Yo, it is your boy Nayzel versus Wild, and you're listening to another episode of Beer Wolf Sessions. Thank you for tuning in. Yet another week, yet another Monday, and you're showing up, and I'm so proud of you. Thank you to everybody listening. 1 person, 13 views, a million views, whatever you want to call it. If you're listening and giving attention to the session, I'm super grateful. Thank you for showing up. If this is your first time listening, my name is Nayzel Sushil. I am a full-time creative entrepreneur from South Auckland. I was born in a rural Fijian village called Lambasa, Bunileka, and my goal in life and my mission in life is to write a story that beats longer than my heart. Now, speaking of stories, I spend a lot of time, obviously, with my partner, and sometimes she's a nurse, if you didn't already know, and some of the conversations that we have on her late night drives home as an outlet to share her experiences over a day-to-day life as a nurse really teaches me some of the greatest lessons about, making sure that we do things when we're healthy, making sure we do things when we're thriving, and make sure we do things when we have both legs and arms, make sure we do things when we genuinely physically and mentally there. And I think some of the conversations that I have with her, it really reshapes my thinking in terms of the things that I do and the choices that I make in my life. And I think this session is going to be hopefully empowering and give you guys hope and inspire you guys to really do things when life's good. And sometimes we put too many expectations on ourselves on the future, and I know I do that on multiple occasions, and I do it to myself, and sometimes it keeps me going, and sometimes it brings me down, and sometimes I get lost and I start wondering too much. I'm not saying wondering is a bad thing, but sometimes I spend too much time wondering and not actually doing. So I want to hopefully inspire you to realize that when you are fit, healthy, when you feel like that life is good, do things that you want to do, because life, we all get old, and some of the stories that she tells me of, like, people struggling to walk or struggling to breathe, struggling to get out of bed, struggling because they're on medications, and how it affects their thinking process, and some of the choices people have made to be in that position, or some of the choices that came on them and they had no choice because life took care of what decision they were going to make, and things that were out of their control, and life changes with terminal illnesses and issues and things like that. And when you are good, when life gives you a chance and an opportunity, maximize it. And I encourage you, because you're not going to be healthy and fit forever, and whoever thinks they're going to live forever, I encourage you to realize that it's unless AI comes in and does it, you just never know. I'm not going to say never, because anything can happen, but really make the most of your movement in life when you are fit and healthy, because it can really change your chances of living a better life later down the track. And you don't want to be worrying about things when you're struggling to walk, or when regretting things when you're in a bed, when you're like, oh shit, man, I should have done things when I could walk, or when I could exercise, or when I could move my body. And I really want to shape this conversation in a way where it helps you to look after your health, helps you to look after the way you eat, helps you to look after the things that you put in your body can be a reflection of the things that come out. The food and the things that we put in our body creates the energy for our movement, creates the energy for our mind, creates the outlets for our creativity. And I think a lot of times we take it for granted on the things that we eat, or the things that we put and consume in our body, and the impacts that it can have on our lives for the long term. And the craziest thing that my partner said to me recently, she's like, imagine if a young person got to experience what a 70-year-old is experiencing, and if you just made that sudden jump, they would be in the biggest shock of their lives. And this type of shock happens when people go into terminally illnesses, and if you are fit and healthy right now, and you can breathe and you can move and you've got 2 arms and 2 legs and you've got a mind and you have the privilege to have a mindset, and if you're not moving and you're taking your healthy lifestyle as for granted, like, stop, and hopefully this conversation is a wake-up call for you to go after the things that you truly want to go after as an entrepreneur, as a high-performing athlete, as an artist, as a creative, you name it, whatever you identify yourself as. This is a wake-up call to make sure that if you are in the movement, and if you're not moving, or if you're just fallen into a bad rut, or if you don't feel like getting out of bed because there's so much crazy shit happening in the world and you just feel demoralized and you feel out of hope or out of love, or just start small, start the step, start the movement, just keep moving, because movement is one of the greatest remedies to life. Towards art, towards creativity, towards energy, towards ideas, towards love. And I think when we take our health for granted, and like that journey of life, it's going to go quick, man. Like, I turned 30, unless when I release this episode I'm already 30. Let's just see how it goes. I turned 30 and I'm 30 soon, and it goes to show that life moves quick, man. If you don't look around once in a while, it just blinks. And I think when we're healthy and we're thriving inside, and we're and whoever above is looking after our body, like when we can appreciate it and understand that someone else would die for this opportunity to be fit and healthy, like, we have to take the opportunity to create a better society, better humanity, and we have to take the opportunity to better our communities and our friends, our families. And if they have been misguided in education and direction, it's up to us to create that momentum of change. And it's up to us to create and be the role model. And it's up to us to break cycles. And it's up to us to take responsibility. Because remember, everything that we talk about, a real creative, real entrepreneur, real artist, real community movement, is a person that can take responsibility and doesn't blame anybody. And I'm a big believer in that. So I encourage you to take responsibility of your life and your movement, and really take responsibility of your health. And this is also a message to myself, because I also get into bad directions. Even being an ultra endurance athlete and running distances, like, I still get into bad cycles. And I think I really need to look after the way I eat and the things that I consume, and I think if we can do that on a regular basis, I think we can really give ourselves a momentum and a foundation to really thrive in our later years. And if you're a young person listening to this, hopefully I caught you at the right time. And if you're using substance abuse or using drugs and alcohol to numb the pain, I assure you that numbing the pain isn't going to make the pain disappear. All right. What I want you to do is write down like 3 things that you want to accomplish in your life. Just tangible things, small things. I want to go overseas. I want to take my family out, or I just want to go buy myself something. Just write 3 things, small, big, whatever you want to call it, and just slowly every day make one step towards that thing. And you might lose momentum, but it's having the self-assurance and the confidence and the responsibility and the self-belief to come back at it. Listen to this episode 1,000,000 times if you have to. But real self-confidence is created by a person that can keep promises to themselves. And we talk about this all the time, and I've talked about it on multiple occasions. But it's very, very important for us to come back to that value, come back to that statement, because it's going to keep you going for the long run. And we remember, we're in this fucking marathon, and we're in this fucking marathon. We need to go the distance in order to create the change that we want to create the transformation that we want to create. And if we don't look after our bodies and don't look after our heart, we don't look after our legs, our minds, our soul, our mental health, our space of environment that we're growing, and we will never be able to make a difference, not only in ourselves but others around us. And remember, go in with the intentions of creating your own accountability, because when you create your own accountability, the chain effect and the influence in your environments will change. Remember, we don't change anybody, we be the change within ourselves, because when we're the change, the environment changes regardless. You got to be the change. If the environment doesn't change, the environment moves away, and you create a new environment, because you are the change. You are the vision, you are the worldview, you are the creator, you are the impact that you put out in this world is based on based on the inputs that you put in yourself. The character building of inputs and outputs are based on the person that you are becoming. And there's a lot of strength in that. So hopefully this conversation helps you to be better and look after your health. And remember, my partner literally talks about this all the time, is understanding that, like, you know, the food that we put in ourselves, like you may not see the effect of it overnight. Like, it's like brushing your teeth, right? You brush your teeth every day and you don't, you know, it's just a cycle and you don't see any differences. But because you're brushing your teeth every single day for like 60, 70 years, then it helps. You know, like that's the same process and principles that we need to apply to the eating habits, the drinking habits, to the things that we consume. Because I think when we do that and apply those principles, is like it's the actionable task that we put forward to look after our bodies. It's because our bodies will thank us in the later years. And it's the principles of brushing your teeth. Same principle applies, making sure you eat consistently good. Obviously, it's all good to have like a cheat meal and then do everything like in life that comes around. But if you consistently are in a bad cycle of consuming bad things in your body, it can really affect you in the long run. So I encourage you to live a happier and healthier lifestyle if you can. Bit of a different session this week, but hopefully it inspires, because I feel like all of these foundations play a big part in you as a business owner, as a creative, even for me, because if those foundations aren't right, we're not going to be able to generate ideas, be a change maker, be a creative, and be our best versions of ourselves. So yeah, peace and love. Keep being a wolf. Keep going. I'll catch you guys next Monday. Let's go.